many respects, this is seen as a sort of Reddit Wall Street bets game, but in many respects, it appears to be something that's happening as a function of big institutional investors.
It's actually, I think, a false narrative. This has nothing to do with the short squeeze anymore. Just look at yesterday. 688 million shares traded yesterday. There's only 450 million shares outstanding. This is not a short squeeze. This is not big institutions, hedge funds being squeezed. If hedge funds wanted to get out of their entire position, if they were short, they could do it within minutes. Like, this has literally nothing to do with a short squeeze. And the sort of the funny part about this is there's this sort of army of retail investors that keeps talking about we're going to buy, hold, and never sell. Yet there's this greater fool theory, right? Like, somebody's selling because 688 million shares traded yesterday. So retail is selling to retail at ever higher prices. So some of them are obviously making tremendous amounts of money as they get more and more people to buy at inflated prices. But look, Andrew, all that really matters here long term, this company is never going to make cash again. Like, they will never generate cash with their current capital structure. It traded at 7 times EBITDA pre-pandemic. It's now trading at 25 times EBITDA right now, and it's in worse position today with a changed industry today. This just defies all logic. I get it. People can buy this stock and keep sending it higher like they're showing even in the pre-market today. But ultimately, this company doesn't make money. The debt investors in this stock, this debt trades at 70 cents on a dollar for a reason. There's a good chance this company goes bankrupt. The debt investors know that. The equity investors, at least for the moment, don't seem to care.
Well, they don't care, but if they were to care, what would you think fair value for this company would be?
Well, fair value is what your future cash flows are. This company can't generate cash flow. If you look at sort of what it's earned historically, the change of the industry, its interest expense, and its capital expenditures, it will never generate cash again. That's why we have a 1 penny price target, is that this company is headed for bankruptcy. The only choice it has, if it issues hundreds of millions of shares, now it's already issued several hundred million shares over the last year, if it issued hundreds of millions of shares at these inflated prices, that it could actually stave off bankruptcy. It still wouldn't be worth anywhere near where it's trading today.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Rich. If you were both the CEO and maybe the company's general counsel or outside counsel, would you advise the company to raise money?
Well, sure. I mean, think about it. Silver Lake. You would think smartest money in the room, right? Silver Lake. Think about the team over there. I'm sure you've talked to them, Andrew. They sold at $10. Wanda, which was the owner of this company originally, they sold all of their shares. Like, all of the smart money that's had access to the board and all of the information, they've all sold at dramatically lower prices. The fact that the company isn't issuing stock at these prices is crazy. I mean, they should be paying down their debt right now because the underlying economics of their business, I mean, think about it. Cinemark, same business, roughly the same earnings pre-pandemic. I mean, 2019, very similar earnings. Cinemark trades at, a fraction, sort of a third of where this company trades. Like, it just doesn't make any logical sense that Cinemark would trade with a better capital structure and actually generates cash at 1/3 the valuation that AMC trades at. I mean, it just defies logic. But look, I think at the end of the day, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, you're saying what people who know these businesses the best, what people who have followed the stock market for decades have all been saying at this point. I guess the question becomes, what happens to change this sort of Alice in Wonderland world at this point? What actually happens to make the music stop?
I don't know. I mean, you've got a CEO in Adam Aaron who sort of is acting like P.T. Barnum. Like, there's that saying, right? There's a sucker born every minute. He just keeps, getting
I'm not just talking AMC. I'm talking more broadly.
Look, we've seen this obviously in Fubo, and we've seen this in other shares. I mean, I can't speak to GME. I don't know that business or that company well enough. But, look, there is this excitement to just buy stocks regardless of valuation, regardless of future earnings. All I can say is ultimately, the business is under a lot of pressure. I mean, look at, your parent company, Comcast and Universal, shifting Boss Baby directly to Peacock. I mean, they're not alone, right? MGM just got bought by Amazon and is clearly going to put more movies directly onto Amazon streaming. Like, the industry is fundamentally changing. People are going to go to the movies. There is this narrative that you have to buy AMC stock to prevent the short sellers from driving it into bankruptcy. Short selling doesn't make companies go bankrupt. Bankrupt companies don't very often go away. They restructure, fix their debt structure, and reemerge. Like, there's just a lot of false narratives being sent around. I mean, the biggest one obviously is where we started, Becky. Like, this idea that, that this is a short squeeze. There's nothing to do with a short squeeze here. This is literally retail in a feeding frenzy, buying it from each other, with one retail investor selling it at ever higher prices to another retail investor. Like, that's what's actually going on if you really look through it. And I just think at the end of the day, it's sort of just, again, where this ends is when there just runs out of money to keep buying it. People stop buying it at these higher prices. It's going to crack.
Rich, and you don't buy into any of the narrative that as the world returns in a post-COVID world, that these seats are just sold out, packed every night, every day, 100% capacity, as if it's travel. That's not on your not on the cards to you.
Well, look, let's just say it is. Let's just honestly say it is. Do you think it's going to be that way for all of 2022? Like, every weekend you're going to go to the movies? Like, the first thing after being trapped inside for the entire year, the number one activity that you're going to have, not going to a concert, not going out to dinner with friends, the number one activity is going to be crowding into a movie theater to see a film. Like, movie theater attendance has been in secular decline for way before the pandemic. Like, this wasn't, people were choosing, less and less people were choosing to go to the movies every single year. That's why AMC was on the verge of bankruptcy before the pandemic. Like, that's the crazy thing here. This company was troubled pre-pandemic. Is there going to be a surge in the first few weeks when we can fully go and all these movies? I'm sure, like this weekend, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of excitement to go see some of the big movies that are opening up this weekend. But that's not the question. The question is, what will earnings look like in 2022 and beyond? And this company is not going to earn what it used to earn.
Rich, just tell us about your personal experience, though, apart from this, or maybe not apart because it's very related to this, which is you have been just attacked viciously online as a result of some of the things you're saying right now.
I think that's what's surprising is that, I love having sort of very, honest and financial debates, and I've certainly been wrong on stocks. We've talked about places we've been wrong on CNBC, and I'm happy to have a debate with anyone. I think the level of, filth and harassment that sort of has been thrown at us on social media, it got to the point where we had to lock our Twitter account and just sort of let it cool off because it's just too upsetting to see what's been done. And there is this sort of like mob-like behavior of at least some of these retail investors. Obviously, I can't speak for all of them. I just see what's been thrown at me. But, having to block thousands and thousands of people over the last week, it's just sort of depressing that this isn't about, this is sort of the new get-rich-quick scheme, and anything in the way is attacked. And I think that's just that's what's disappointing from a human behavior standpoint.
Rich, we hope things on that front get better, and we do look forward to seeing what does happen in the movie theater business and whether people end up at the movies this weekend and what ends up with AMC stock. It's good to see you. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for having me.